This is Victoria Vives-Kwon with Air Sky People Radio and Air Sky People TV. And today we have a surprise show. Today we have here Sharon Schloss. Hey, Sharon, how are you?
Hi, Victoria. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. And this is for sure a surprise for all of us because there was a different show scheduled for today, but things are happening in such a special way that I feel that this was necessary and my guests couldn't make it this week. So, oh my goodness, I'm very excited, Sharon, of everything that is happening in your life. So would you like to share with our audience?
I'm overwhelmed these days because I've been an activist for a very long time in against geoengineering and chemtrails. That's how I started. But then I discovered orgone energy and my life completely changed. And now I realized that I can no longer work at my job because it's holding me back from my work in helping humanity. Because when you discover something like orgone energy, you have to share it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, so it was so interesting, Sharon, because you and Gabe came here, and after the interview, which was a lot of fun to meet and everything, you guys asked me about leaving one's job. And I mean, I don't know. For me, it's so important that people is not working a 9-to-5 job and instead working out of the matrix and really showing their gift. And I didn't know that you have your 9-to-5, you know, because you are doing all these things that takes so much time, so much of your energy. But
Yes.
you are still working in a daily job. That's amazing. How are you managing to do that?
Barely, and you're not the only person that didn't think I had a regular job. A lot of people think I do this full time already. As it is, I feel like I'm working about 80 hours a week. I feel like I have 2 full-time jobs and I can't handle it anymore.
Right. So when you guys ask me about, you know, my opinion about leaving your job is like 100% you need to do that. Because some of us, you know, some people may not be very sure about their gift or what is their purpose in life, but you knew it, you know. And imagine if those 9-to-5 hours you could dedicate to your dream, to your purpose, to your joy. And what I discovered is that the hours of the morning are the hours in which we have a great focus. So I noticed that when I get up, I have all my energy, you know, I can go and do everything. But if I leave things for 7 p.m. and forward, it's like I don't have the same focus, the same clarity.
Yeah,
so imagine,
I understand that.
Right, so giving your time to something that you don't truly believe, oh my goodness. So did you already stop working or you're still in the process of stopping working?
I'm leaving in a very nice way because the place where I work is actually a very good employer. And it's kind of funny because I've worked horrible jobs my whole life and I've always been happy to leave them. And I don't keep a job very long in general. I usually don't last more than 2 years in a job. Usually I last a few months. And I try not to work as much as possible. And I've always been a proponent of a 3-day-a-week work week with 6-hour days. So I've never been into full-time work. But the place where I work now is a great employer as far as that goes. They offer great benefits and perks. And I actually only have to work 4 days a week. And even that is too much, which is funny. But so it's actually hard to leave this job because it's much better than most.
You know, and what I noticed is that that's what happens. Like, for example, my aunt has a great job. So because of that, it's so comfortable that it's like, why would I think of anything further, you know? I have things to pay my bills. I have appreciation from my coworkers. And it's like, you don't go deeper. And sometimes, you know, it's like that temptation. Why should I leave this? You know, but it is giving our lives to something that is truly not our dream. It's somebody else's dream.
It's someone else's dream. And for them, it's a great dream. And it's great for them. Like the company I work for is very successful. And the owners, well, honestly, I would say they don't seem extremely happy. They seem very angry and unhappy a lot of the time because the pursuit of wealth ultimately is not going to make you happy. But they're not bad people, you know, they're good people in their hearts. So yes, it is hard to leave, but I am dedicating my life to someone else's work, and the work itself contradicts a lot of my personal beliefs. So it's not, like I said, I don't want to point the finger at them and say they're bad people. They're doing the best they can for what they can do in their limited consciousness, and they're in the 3D consciousness, and you know, it's just, it is what it is. But for me, I'm there, I'm doing something I don't believe in. And in fact, it is sort of related to the field I studied because I was an art major and I work in an art gallery. But
Which is like a dream come true almost, right?
It's a dream come true almost. However, I am not in art. I'm in administration in the office.
Oh.
So I'm not doing anything creative. And even, you know, people I work for, some of them are artists. And yes, it's a job that keeps you going. It pays well. And then you can maybe go home on the weekend and do your art. Maybe, if you have any energy. And for me, I don't even do art anymore because I've been consumed with orgone energy, ending geoengineering, neutralizing EMF, and bringing up the human consciousness. And I found that by painting and doing music, which I love, I wasn't actually doing enough. And so I've abandoned that to a degree. I just do it for fun here and there, but mostly I devote my time towards helping.
So I would love for you to share, what are the fears that come to you? What are the things that, for people that is watching us right now and they're thinking, I want to leave my job, but I don't know. So what would you say that is the first things that come to you that so that
the fears? I know, because it's so scary. I've been really scared about this decision. The fears are, first of all, money, right?
Right.
And everybody worries about how will I get by. The interesting thing about money is, first off, our money is actually currency. It's not money. It's a piece of paper with nothing to back it up. So it actually has no value other than what we believe it has. So first, that's the first thing. The second thing is, the last weekend, Gabriel and I went orgonite gifting in Orange County, which we hadn't done before. And we didn't bring any food with us. I said, we'll just get something. That was a tall order, finding something edible in Orange County. We ended up getting salads from the salad bar at the Ralph's Market. But I looked around me at all the different stores and I said, wow, I don't need anything here. Everything here is either toxic or pointless. And I looked and I said, I don't need any of these products. So if I don't need any of these products, maybe I don't need as much money as I thought. So things like that, you start to think, do I need the money? What am I paying for? If I don't have enough money to buy food, maybe I could grow food. And isn't that what we're supposed to be doing anyway?
Exactly. You know, and you said about money. Well, so let me share with you about money, because I was in school, I was sharing with you about this. You know, my mom saw me when I was small, you know, very good grades, very good student. That's who I was. So she expected that I'm going to start working in something normal, but I just wanted to study because I enjoy studying. So I never thought I was going to be, you know, in a regular job. But she was really scared. And I think that's part of the programming that we had for so many years. You know, you need to work a regular job to have your paycheck at the end of the month. So I went and did my thing. And I became very successful, but at the time I said, you know, I think I want to try to work in a regular job. So for about 3 months, I was working in a supermarket. Yeah, I would go. I wanted to try something different.
I can't even imagine you doing that.
Well, I was going there at 5:30 in the morning and moving big carts, you know, heavy. Most of them were men. So I was just carrying these big carts and putting things in place, because it was only from 5:30 to 8:30, so then I have the rest of the day. So I thought, this is great, you know, I'm going to receive money for sure, instead to be always with something that is temporary.
Right.
And then, well, so I started doing that, and it's like, seriously, even though it was just 3 hours a day, the best energy of the day was those 3 hours, because it's when I was getting up. I was going to do my best in that job, you know, moving boxes. And I was like, what am I doing here?
Well, you're just like me. I was a straight-A student too. My mother and father wanted me to be very successful in a regular job and make lots of money. Exactly. And I was just like you, because for years I worked for myself, trying to do my own thing, and made it work. I made it work for a while. And then I couldn't make it work anymore. And I went back to working regular jobs. And now I'm ready to be free. I know there's a better way to do things. This is crazy. living in houses that we can't afford because we're spending all our time working to pay for them, right? Do we really enjoy the house that we're renting when we're never there to enjoy it? Because we're always working
Oh my
to pay
goodness,
for it.
that's so true. That's so true. I'm always at home, so I work at home. But just completing the story I was sharing, what happened is that the money I was making in 1 month, I would make the same money with 1 gig in television or in our show. So it's like I was working the whole month to receive the same money in 1 gig. So that's one of the things that happened, that sometimes it's better to, okay, I'm not working every day, it was weird, but at least I'm making a very similar amount of money working just 1 day. So
That's
that was
amazing.
right.
That's a
So,
great thing when you can do that.
and I was doing what I like. So for people that is watching us now, just trust that maybe you're not going to find a job every single day. But if you are a freelance, you may be able to find enough work that covers the same amount of, of money that you needed. So just that idea.
Oh, that's a great idea. I mean, if you can do it. And I do know people who manage to do that. And for me, I rarely had the kind of job where I could work that little. The funny thing is where I currently work, I could make half what I'm making and work 2 days a week and that'd be enough.
Oh, wow.
But that's not an option. It's one of those kind of jobs. It's, this is a full-time position. And there isn't that kind of flexibility in most workplaces. It's a rigidity of scheduling. Because I think I could work there 2 days a week, that'd be fine.
So what you are most excited about now that you are going to have time? When are you complete with that?
Well, at the end of July. And then I will be full-time on what I want to do.
Beautiful. So what is your plan? How are you going to make this transformation?
Well, I'm going to be making orgonite all the time. Gabriel and I make orgonite every weekend, which I love. We make and gift orgonite and we sell it too. And the pieces we make are beautiful and people love them. And if we can sell them to people and be able to finance being able to survive while healing the planet, that's
not
all.
Survive,
that's
not
all.
Survive, but thrive. Just focus on that, because imagine you can start creating workshops,
right,
so that people can learn how it works, how beneficial they are, how they can make it, and you're going to enjoy that because you know that you're doing something that is meaningful to you. What I feel is that we come here with a purpose, but as soon as we get into school, they tell us that no, our purpose is going to be something else that we don't care about, So I feel it's so important that we recognize that, because if each of us is in our purpose, then our world is going to be a totally different thing.
Right. And my purpose is planetary healing.
Exactly.
So, and that's actually what I want to do. And planetary healing for me is everything. I actually don't want any material things. I was looking around my house thinking I want to get rid of everything. I want to heal Earth, Gaia, our mother. We're her children, and I want to heal the people and the animals. I want to turn the wrongs right. And I know my whole life I wanted to do that. I was an environmentalist since I first found out that they were cutting down the rainforest when I was 12. And I became an environmentalist at a very young age. I love this earth. I love nature. I love people. I love animals. I love everyone. I just see so much suffering. And I know that all of the suffering on this planet comes from the same root source. And my goal in life is to end that suffering and bring peace. So for me, the only reason I need any currency is just so I can be alive. And for me, that is thriving enough. So for me, thriving is just to be here and do planetary healing. So that what I'm going to do for that is just the stuff I've been doing. And hopefully it'll just sustain me, making orgonite, gifting it, selling it, and doing talks and writing. And I'll be, one of my biggest goals is to become a scholar of Reich, Wilhelm Reich. I'm going to read all of his works and become an expert on his research, because he's the person who discovered orgone. So I've already started that work, but now with full time, I can really get into it more deeply.
Beautiful, and I feel that in the beginning, we are not used maybe to do those things. And I know it's scary because no other people is doing it. And it's like, oh, no, don't go on your own, It's crazy that you leave your job because you need all this money and you're going to be a homeless or whatever. And I totally understand that, because I had sometimes those thoughts. But the thing is that you are actually opening a new path for so many people, so that when other people says, oh, should I leave my job or not, they will look at you and they will see that you are actually doing something that you love and you're still doing okay. So
Right.
that's how I feel, that the more of us that start taking this step and say, no, you know what, this is not my purpose in life. I really want to follow my purpose and do my gift, share my gift. The more of us that do this, the more people will realize that the old system, the old paradigm is obsolete. We need to.
Absolutely. It's crumbling to the ground. And you were a great influence to me because I already knew what I was going to do. And then we spoke. And I had been talking about this with different people. And after we spoke about it and I saw how you live your life, and I realized this is great. This is what I want to do. I want to share my gift. So we have to understand that this paradigm is shifting. And one thing I knew about the place I worked, I still know this. It's not going to be around forever, because it's going to become obsolete like many other things, because ways of thinking are changing. Our values are changing. This paradigm is shifting very fast right now. Things are accelerating. And I'm just rolling with it. I'm riding the wave and I see the change that needs to happen. No, I have an instinct for these things. I always move to the hipster neighborhood before it's cool. And then the hipsters move and then I leave. So I know what the next thing is. So, and the next thing is not about neighborhoods. It's about a paradigm shift. It's about a change of our way of life.
Yes. And you know what? What I realize is that the more I commit to my true vision, the more the universe is supporting me. But because, I always work in what I wanted, but the more integrity I have to truly, truly support only the kind of energy that I want, the more the universe is really backing me up. So even though I was working in entertainment and I love it and, it's great, I understood that Hollywood, it doesn't have a very good message for us.
That's an understatement.
Oh, I know. And I worked so much in those things, but I liked it and I felt, well, I can still transform this or whatever. But
right.
The day that I started being more and more, having more integrity and saying, no, this is not what I have to do. I have to create something new. And I started leaving jobs, sometimes very scary. So I've been also in that situation saying I have to pay my rent, and this work would give me $800 right now in a day, but I'm going to say no. But the more I did those things, the more the universe supported me, and it feels like I'm always on vacation. I mean, I work a lot.
Oh my God, I know. When I've worked for myself, it was great. I love it because you're not working when you're doing what you want to do and not having a boss.
Yes.
I know. I used to work in Hollywood too, by the way.
Oh, nice. And that comes also not having a boss. That's also coming into our sovereignty. We are so used to have always external authority. Okay, now I have a boss. Now I have the government. Now I have the doctor. Now I have this and that. And it's like we don't realize that we are our own authority. So that's another reason why I feel that people should think about it, and start thinking how they can find their own purpose.
You're right. We need, actually, this is a new era of personal responsibility, which goes with the liberty movement, which I know many people who are a part of. And that's where we are right now. We have to be our own bosses. We can't let somebody who doesn't know what's good for us tell us what's good for us. That goes for, like you said, bosses, governments, doctors. It's a mess right now because we're just obeying the wrong people. We need to just listen to ourselves.
Yes. And how you feel about the situation with your parents? How did they? Yes, I know. I think that is one of the hardest, because it is not that they don't love us. Of course, they do it because they have their best interest at heart and they're afraid. And once again, my mother, the same. She was so afraid about me, the crazy things I did in my life. But then she's proud. So how do you feel with that situation? I don't know. Would you like to share about that?
Well, that's one of the hardest things of all, because we're talking about authority figures and we grow up with our parents, and a lot of our programming, I would say most of our programming starts there with our parents. And I wasn't programmed for success. So I had to teach myself that in life. So some people's parents, they do their things that program their child for success. But I was programmed to have to follow rules, but I always knew it was wrong. So in my heart, I knew that things were wrong and upside down from the beginning. And I think I came into this world very grumpy as a baby. From the start, I was grumpy.
Oh, you are not grumpy now.
No, not now. But I was like, what is going on? Why am I here again? Everything is wrong in this realm. But yeah, I was trained from a young age by my parents. I don't think that I'm the only one that had this problem, but that I wasn't going to be successful, that I need to work for someone else, that there's nothing really special about me. So then I wasn't really thinking, oh, I can, you know, do what I want with my life. But it, you know, that changes. You can
in
change
a way,
it.
that's amazing, because it's you know, such a profound growth from being in that environment that you're feeling, you know, I'm not so much, I'm not so important, and then being able to go beyond that with all that conditioning and being able to transform your life. I think that spiritually is an amazing growth.
Oh my gosh, it's been kind of a crazy journey for me, and I've been working up to this point for my entire life, and breaking programming, and breaking programming is painful. It comes actually with physical pain as well. When you break your programming, you don't just feel mentally confused and emotionally confused. It's physically painful at times. Your whole body feels like it's just breaking down. You have no energy, and you feel disturbed and distressed when you do that. I've broken a lot of bad programming to get to where I am.
Oh, goodness. And you mentioned about coming here to this place that everything is backwards, and that's another thing that I feel that we repeated this lesson so many times, you know, that we got into the system and we wasted our lives, because it's that, you know, if you come here to Earth and we are going 9 to 5 in the job, and then hours of commuting, and all of that is like really wasting our lives. So please, if somebody is listening to us, think about it. You know, why you came here. Make sure to think about that.
Well, yeah, we have to think about why we're here. We have to remember who we are inside. And I know David Icke talks about this, and I like listening to him. He's not maybe solution-oriented like I am, but he has good insights into why things are the way they are. And, you know, he noted that so many people are so talented, but they're stuck at these jobs because the system set up that we are trapped in it, that we have to do that to pay the rent. But the thing is, when you start to unravel it, and you take those things away one by one, you need less and less. And I've noticed that personally, like my needs have decreased significantly. So there is a way out. And we do need to remember our origins, what we're doing here. And the fact is, the 40-hour work week is designed to keep us exhausted, take away our time, so we can't have spiritual growth. We can't even eat right. We're so exhausted that we just have to come home and put a microwave dinner, you know.
Right, oh my goodness. Or go to McDonald's.
Oh no, God forbid. It's like, I don't even need to tell your viewers what's in that, because they know.
So imagine a genius like Einstein comes into this earth and suddenly gets stuck into 9 to 5 job, commuting, eating hamburgers, you know, then that life is wasted. So who knows, many of people that is working in and out, maybe geniuses, but we never give them an opportunity. They never realize about that opportunity within themselves.
I meet a lot of really smart people that are working menial jobs all the time. You know, it's surprising. And I meet a lot of very not intelligent people that have high-paying jobs. So it's
very true. Very true.
We all really just have something to contribute to this earth, and working in jobs 9 to 5 is not the way to do it. And I actually think for anybody that feels that they have to work, I recommend part-time. And try to get by on less. If you have to do it, I understand it's hard to unravel the matrix. It's hard to just leave. You can't leave in one day. You do it step by step. You know, and I've taken many steps to this point. And I realized that the one thing that was really holding me back at this point was the job.
Wow. I can imagine where you're going to be in 1 year from now. It's going to be totally amazing.
I hope so.
I know so. I'm so excited for you. You know, I feel that when we start working that way, we are in survival mode completely.
Yes.
And when we are in survival mode, we are never going to thrive, because we are acting from fear. When we act from fear all the time, I mean, what kind of life is that? But when we go acting from love, and we are focusing on thriving and what I desire to do today with my day. I have a full day before me.
Ah,
What I want to do.
it's a dream.
Oh my goodness, that's life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even if we don't have a lot of money and we go to the mountains to enjoy nature.
There's nothing better than that, actually. And and I realized too that this lifestyle that we have in the city, 9 to 5, always working, stuck in traffic, eating junky food, it's so unhealthy. Is it even worth the money? All that money is just going to go into your cancer treatment later that's going to kill you anyway.
Oh my goodness.
We don't want to do this.
So which positive things can we tell people so that they feel excited? We already said, money is not it's not necessary to sell your soul because of money.
Right.
You can survive.
You can survive.
Yes. They're going to be able to have free time, which is, actually, what I realized when I worked a lot and I had a lot of money is that the most important and precious currency is not money, it's time.
Time. And that's why they say time is money. Time is more important than money.
It is.
We need more time than money. And a lot of the things that you use money for, you're using it because your time's been taken away from you. And I've actually thought a lot about the concept of the economics of doing less. And I've done the math. And I'm a bookkeeper, and so that's what I do for a living. And you can save so much money by not working in some ways. If you think about it, I don't have my own car. I share a car. Pretty much I share a car with 2 other people. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, I have my dad's car that he doesn't need right now, and I share it with Gabe. So it's like, I don't have my own car. That's one big thing I don't need. So I don't need the job to pay for the car.
No.
Stuff like that.
It's like you need the job to pay for things that the job requires to have.
Right. So the job itself makes you spend money, and you have to buy clothes for that job. And so I'm actually very excited about having more time. And I do think that everybody listening, if you can't, if you can't not work at a job, I would recommend working part-time and using the rest of your time very wisely. Now, think about what do you want out of life, because you're only here for a limited time, but you have a talent. Everyone has something to offer.
Wow, I'm so excited for your transformation and to have you in the show. Thank you for offering your time, because I feel it's a very special time in your life and a certain energy that the people that is watching you right now will receive this as a transmission, as an attunement, so that they can attune their energy to your excitement and how you're feeling. And Gabriel is very supportive as well of your.
Yes, he's been telling me for months I need to do this, and I kept saying I can't. I'm making a lot of money there, but yeah, he's been extremely supportive, and I do. Yeah, I just the thought of being able to do something helpful for this world is so much more important, and something happens when you learn something as important as I did. And I'm not the person who discovered orgone. I mean, Wilhelm Reich discovered it. I am a person who discovered his discovery. And when you learn something like this and you see what it does to end the chemtrails, neutralize these dangerous energies that are suppressing our consciousness and giving us cancer, and you see the healing properties of something, it's a free energy that's been suppressed from us for so long. When you have this knowledge that I have a moral responsibility.
Exactly, I love that.
I can't do anything else. I have to share this, because I believe that my full time on this, next year, the world will be a completely different place.
Wow. Imagine, exactly. That's what happens, that we create the world. It's not, sometimes we feel like, oh no, I'm not so important, but we all are important. From the difference between you being in that art gallery that doesn't resonate with you so much, to be in doing your purpose, the world is going to be different. So if each of us are to do that transformation, I mean, our contribution to the world would be so different. How many?
Absolutely.
Imagine if nobody would work in In-N-Out. Well, let's say McDonald's. Let's say McDonald's, that is worse.
In-N-Out is a little bit tastier than McDonald's.
Yes, a little natural. But let's say that nobody wants to work in McDonald's. Yeah. So McDonald's wouldn't exist.
It wouldn't exist. I used to work at a Starbucks a long time ago, okay? And It was actually a terrible job. And they had people coming in for a 4 a.m. shift. They'd show up at like 3:45 in the morning. And I thought that was horrendous. And I said I refused to work that shift. And I was standing at the counter. I was working with one other person. It was pretty dead, pretty quiet. And I said, if nobody would work that 4 a.m. shift, they couldn't have it. I said that. But you know what happened? This is just the funny part about it all, is that I got called in the back by my manager, and she said that her friend had been sitting in there and heard me say it, and she narked on me. And so I got called back in the back office, and the manager said, "Are you trying to unionize? Because we do not look kindly on that at Starbucks."
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
But all I was saying, and but actually that is the concept of unionizing, is saying we refuse to work under poor conditions. And I really think if all the employees refuse to work at 4 a.m., how could they have a 4 a.m. shift?
Exactly. So if we would start saying this is not, it's not worth it. How much was the payment for these people working at 4 in the morning? I mean,
the same. It wasn't worth it. It's the same.
No. Exactly. So if we start saying, I'm a human being, I have some rights. This is not life. I mean, life is expensive. So if we start, I understand that it's challenging, but I feel that's why we need all of us. The more of us that come together and start saying, this is not at the level of the minimum requirements for working, you really have to offer me something better. Because otherwise, it's like there is always somebody that is going to come and take the job.
Well, I would argue that we actually don't need Starbucks or McDonald's. They don't really serve us in any way. I would argue that all we need are nice little small houses, a piece of land to grow food, community, friends, family, music, love. I don't really think that we need much more than that, because our spiritual development doesn't happen through the material world. And so in actuality, life is not expensive, because animals don't pay anything to live.
Exactly. Every time I go to nature with my husband, we go there, we get water from the river. I have said this many times, but I'm going to repeat it. We get water from the river, we filter it, we can drink it. We get wood for fire, we have something to warm the food, to warm ourselves. We know the wild edibles, we know things. So
yes.
if in school they will teach us how to live.
They don't teach us how to live in school. They program us for the matrix in school.
No.
And that's exactly what's happening. It's all programming. And we really think that life is something that it isn't.
Right. Yes, because at the end, I always feel that what we are doing here is a game of consciousness, how much consciousness we can achieve. When we are driving to our jobs, or being in 9-to-5 office in a cubicle or whatever like this, we are not really expanding our consciousness in general. We are totally with our mind in a place and our body in another. And I think that the more present we can be in our lives, and that is achieved by doing something that we love, when the time freezes and you are in the zone because you are so excited about what you are doing. In that way, we really contribute to our collective, to our consciousness, and not being bored and angry. That is also a contribution, but a very negative contribution.
Oh, well, a lot of the anger, according to Wilhelm Reich, comes from the suppression of our, it's about the suppression of our orgone. It's about not wanting to feel. So some people don't want to feel emotions. They don't want to feel the excitation of the body. They don't want to feel anything like that. So when they try to love, they have armor. When they try to love, the love hits the armor and comes out as anger. So we actually are armored, according to Wilhelm Reich. And that's what I'm studying right now in order to understand where the world is, why the world is the way it is. And he made these great discoveries after he discovered orgone. It all came together for him.
Oh, goodness. So, and that makes a lot of sense, because also when we are in our offices, well, I say as if I work in an office that I don't, but if somebody's in an office, it's like you cannot truly express how you feel. You have to always be like,
if you do, they get weirded out. They get weirded out if you express how you feel. I've noticed that. I did it. I've done it before. Most of the time I don't. I did it once or twice, and it doesn't go over well. But I have to tell you, this transition is so unbelievable. Something happened today. It was strange. I went to this Indian restaurant. I eat lunch out sometimes. And it's very good. It's one of the few places I can eat where the food doesn't make me feel bad. It's home cooked. It makes me feel good afterwards. So I was sitting in there. I sat indoors where it was cooler, and there was one table, and I was surrounded by colorful boxes in the store, because there's a grocery store, colorful boxes of products. And I was sitting there eating my vegetarian lunch, looking around at colorful boxes of products, including in the freezer case, there were colorful boxes full of frozen Indian food, like the pretend version of Indian food that you could warm up at home in your microwave. And the TV was playing music videos from India, which were more like, it was so influenced by Western culture that it was making me nauseous.
Oh my goodness.
Because it wasn't really a true expression of Indian culture. It was sort of like Indian culture filtered through voice changers, pitch correctors, and with lots of electronic instruments. And I was sitting there and I started to get dizzy. And I couldn't finish my lunch. And I was looking around me and I felt like I was having a psychedelic trip. And I said, what is this? What is this reality we live in? These foods are in boxes and freezers. That's not how we're supposed to eat. What's going on in that TV? Those aren't honest human interactions. I started to get a little too dizzy to eat, so I put my food away, took it with me back to my office. But it was an interesting experience is when you start to expand your consciousness. For anybody who has experimented or tried psychedelic drugs, that is the first step towards that, which a lot of people make. And once you get to a certain point, you don't need the psychedelic drugs to have that experience.
Exactly.
And that comes through meditation. Ram Dass had a meditation teacher in India that he gave some LSD to. And the teacher tried it and said, this is a very useful tool. But it didn't affect him in the least. He could sense that for somebody with a lower level of consciousness, they could help them to expand it. But for the teacher, he saw everything the same. So we do get to a point in our consciousness where we're there,
I agree. Yeah, I can relate to that. And I think that also the realization you had is something that is opening and that will continue and will expand a lot, because I always say that we are like in a soup, all that we have around is filled with thought forms and ideas, and we affect each other, like we want to synchronize one with the others. Like, for example, when in a household there are several women, they're going to have the period at the same time, or things like that. We really synchronize with each other because we are in the same energy. So imagine from being that job that you were, where everybody thinks in a certain way different than you.
Yeah.
Now to be on your own with people that think like you, that is going to totally open your consciousness.
Yeah. It's great. We have a great community. We have a great community of open people who are exploring higher levels of thinking, and it's wonderful. And we can connect with each other, and it's much easier to do when we have time to do it, because I miss so many things I want to do because of work. But yeah, there are so many like-minded people that can help each other. I went to a shamanic healing. It was a drum circle and shamanic healing over the weekend, and I learned things I never heard of before. I learned about a water stone healing. I had never learned that before. There's so many traditions of healing on this planet, and we get together and we share them with each other. We can strengthen each other so much.
Yeah, you should come here with Gabriel sometime. I teach those sorts of things all the time.
Great. Sound healing.
Yeah. And your orgonite. So when is going to be your first class for orgonite?
Oh, I haven't scheduled one yet, but I will. Once I'm done with my job, I'll be scheduling workshops, because I actually made a video online people can watch to learn to make it. And you can start there, but I think that people might need to see it in person. So I have to work that out. I haven't scheduled it yet because I'm still trying to deal with finishing up my job, and I'm doing it honorably. I'm finishing my work,
I totally see you, doing these workshops, talks, and people really benefiting, because it is very nice to see it on video, but I mean, sometimes we need to have somebody in front of us that explains everything well, that has experience, that can show the pictures. Look, this is it, this is how it's going to look before and after. Your sky is going to totally change.
Right.
So I totally see you doing that, and I'm excited about it.
Oh, thank you. I definitely want to do that, and we'll schedule workshops as soon as I have time.
And please also share your website. I know that you have your website, your blog, and your Etsy and everything.
My website is thechembo.com. That's THECHEMBOW.com. And you can get to everything else through there. You can get to my blog, my shop, and my Vimeo page through my website.
Yes, awesome. So I would like for both of us to give a final message to people that would like to escape the 9-to-5 trap. So you want to start? You want to share your last message for them?
Well, you just need to know that you're a very valuable person and you have a contribution to make to our world. And this 9-to-5 trap, which is what it is just keeping you from doing what you need to do. Get rid of your obligations, you know, start losing your needs for material things, and then you can start to really experience life. Think of anything you can do to, you know, maybe not have that expensive phone. You know, my phone costs me $30 a month because I don't care about my phone. You know, maybe get around on a bike. That's what I do, so I don't have to drive. Find freedom, because once you lose your need for money, you'll find that actually doing those minimalist things and getting around on a bike and, you know, eating food that you cook in your home is more fun than going to restaurants and bars and spending all your money. So I guess I would just recommend for people to go for the minimalism if they can, understand their own value and that they have a contribution to make, and work as little as possible because it's a racket, and taxation is a racket too. And that's what happens when you're working at these jobs, is you're paying a ton of it out to a criminal federal government, and it's all just useless paper that's backed by nothing.
And the taxes are used for?
Bombing people and stealing their resources. And that's pretty much it, and poisoning us. So that's why I say, get out of it. It's a racket. You know, do it one step at a time, because a lot of people say, oh, I want to get off the grid now. You can't just get off the grid now. I took my money out of the bank first off. You know, I turned it into silver and gold, so that I know that when the dollar collapses, I'm going to.
I want to do that. I didn't do that yet, but we are thinking about it, my husband and I.
Well, now is a great time because it's so undervalued. It's perfect. You know, that a 1 ounce silver coin costs probably less than you'll pay for a dinner in a restaurant with a drink. So get out of the banks, because as soon as the dollar collapses, the government's going to seize your assets, because once it's in the bank, it's not yours. And once it's in the bank, it's just a number. So turn it into something tangible. So that's the first great way to get off the grid. Start cooking your own food and stop buying processed junk that's full of toxins.
Exactly.
Those are a couple of great ways you can protect yourself. And like I said, try getting by without a car. If there's one car for 2 people, good enough.
The solution.
I mean, I have many solutions. Those are a few.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And my message for people watching, I would say 95% of my life without a regular job, and I'm very happy. I feel very free. I think that I could not have that this far if it is not because of that. So please think that it's your soul, it's your life, it's your time, which is precious, and all the rest is an illusion. You know, what is true is you, I, and the things that we can do together. The enterprises, the corporations are nothing without us. So please take your energy out from there and put it back to your heart so that we can enjoy your gift. So I wish that this show has been inspiring for you. If you were thinking about leaving your job, this is a good time.
It's a great time.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Once again,
Thanks,
thechembo.com, right?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so bye, friends.